a Browns fan, which
Wow.
leads to a little bit disappointing
You're the second
football,
Browns
but
fan I met this week. That's so interesting. Are you from Cleveland?
I'm from Ohio,
Yeah.
and everyone there's a Browns fan. Well, so my dad was actually a Browns fan because we're closer to Cleveland, but my mom's from Cincinnati, so she's a Bengals fan.
Yeah, she
So
is.
there was
Okay.
always that fun rivalry.
That's great. So who are you rooting for in the Super Bowl since none of those teams are in the Super Bowl?
Probably, I'm not sure. I'm just in it for the commercials, I guess.
And
Yeah.
Usher.
Yeah, and Usher. Well, Maggie's in Kansas City, so
Oh, Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
mhm.
Oh, gosh.
I saw this funny video of this girl who's like, "My name is Taylor Kelsey, and everywhere I go, like, you know," everybody else was like, "I think that means you get an automatic ticket to the Super Bowl."
That would be
Well,
a crazy name to have right about now.
I know who you're rooting for.
All right, we're going live on LinkedIn. We're going live on YouTube. We're working here. Let's get this Facebook going.
And Gabby, sometimes you'll see it like it looks blurry and then it gets clear again, and that's because it's consistently uploading, so it'll come out all fine.
Okay. And
All
is
right.
my volume coming in okay?
Yeah, you sound really good. Do you have a microphone on? Oh, yeah, you do with a headset.
It's a Plantronics headset.
Perfect. Yeah, well, an oldie and goodie. So, looking at Maggie with all her dials.
All right, we're just going to do 2 of the 3 today because that's just what's going to work.
Which one are we not doing?
Facebook.
Interesting.
Alrighty,
Okay.
coming up on today's edition of Women and Money, the shit we don't talk about, we have Gabby Malik. Gabby is a financial advisor with Mercer Advisors.
Yeah, I met an advisor from Mercer, and she showed me their website, and I was just floored on how they really are focusing on a female market. It was really impressive, and I find that not too many financial institutions are so prominently putting themselves out there like Mercer is. It jumps right off the first page on their website.
God, it's so refreshing when we see an organization focusing on the most powerful market on the planet, women.
Yeah, and so lucky us, we have Mercer Advisors in Purse Strings as Purse Strings Approved Professional. And today we have one call. Her name is Gabrielle Malik. We call her Gabby. And she wants to share her kind of incredible story as to what led her to the work that she does every day, helping people invest and create financially fearless futures.
So we thank everyone for tuning in. Remember to like and subscribe as it helps us grow, and share it with a friend as we have to keep talking about this shit. Now let's get started. Hey, Gabby, we are so excited to have you on the Women and Money podcast. Before we dive in, we'd love to have you share a bit about yourself before we get started.
Thank you, ladies. Hi, I'm so excited to be here. So thanks for having me. I feel like I've listened to every podcast now. So actually being on it is just so incredible. But yeah, my name is Gabby Malik. I'm a wealth advisor here in Denver, Colorado, and I work with Mercer Advisors. So I'm excited to dive in today, talk a little bit about our firm and our focus on women, and then my personal focus on financial literacy.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you on today and have you as one of our Purse Strings approved professional. So let's kind of dive in. So to get started, for those who don't know, the insurance and financial industry has a lot more men than women. And the stat is around 17 to 20% women right now in the financial industry. So as a woman, what led you to kind of go and become an advisor, a financial advisor?
That's a great question, and it was kind of the perfect storm. Really early on, I was introduced to stocks and trading through a stock simulator through this program in school, and then just through getting to meet so many incredible mentors and getting to hear from people. It was actually funny enough, my astronomy teacher that talked to us about anyone can become a millionaire. Here's how you do it, just through the simple power of saving and investing. So that kind of sparked my curiosity. And then I really liked math. I really enjoyed economics and just intrigued me. And I was lucky enough to get to go to a college of business that actually had a CFP program that was through, the CFP board. So I got to immediately sit for the CFP exam afterwards and get a business degree in financial planning, which is super unique. Only a few universities throughout the country offer that. And then just getting involved with my university. I was in our financial planning program student association, where we brought in different industry professionals and they would come in, talk to us about the job. A lot of my professors were, actually practicing in the industry, and would get to come in and we would hear really cool stories about how maybe they were working with CEOs or players on the Browns, and just you hear about all these great stories and getting to see it firsthand. And then one of my best friends in college, her dad actually owned a practice, and got to see firsthand how much he loved his job, loved the industry, loved helping people, and getting to combine, finance, math, and getting people to become financially fearless and towards economic freedom is something that I just love to do every day.
It sounds like you had so many amazing teachers and mentors and people just kind of popping into your life, like dropping these great golden nuggets, which is so exciting. I'm sure at the time you're like, I don't know what this means. And then looking back, you're like, wow, it does all add up and makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give back and keep passing the torch, because like you said, I did have a lot of great mentors and a lot of people to look up to that helped me and taught me. Not everyone is fortunate to say they love their boss, and I've had so many great bosses just teach me about investing from the time I was an intern and in the broker dealer world, and even being the only female in an all male office. And fast forward to today, working at a firm where almost half of our client facing advisors are women in an industry, like you said, that's below 20%. So yeah, I'm just here to kind of share my information and help more young people like me.
Wonderful. And it's so funny. We talk to a lot of women, and their money stories are often shaped by how they were raised or their experiences in their household, or looking at how their parents managed money. Can you tell us a little bit about how that was for you?
Yes, that's such a great question, because I grew up, my mom, my two sisters, and my dad. So we were a very female dominant house. We used to joke that my dad and our dog, which was a boy dog, they kind of commiserated together against all of us females in the house. But yeah, my parents were they got married really young out of school and had 3 kids right away, and were working blue collar jobs. So we did not have a lot growing up. And I got to see my mom go back to night school after working all day, just to create a better life for us. And my dad owned his own business in home repairs, and at one point was, a plumber. And then when my mom did go back to school, got a degree, and started physical therapy, she really changed our lives. We went from a place of scarcity to a place of abundance. And she would sit down with me and go through bill pay day, and I would see how much it costs to, use water and shower, and just at a really young age learn the importance of budgeting, and being really intentional about how you're spending your finances, and how that truly, again, just changed our lives.
I love that she sat down and went through some of those things, because going on to college and then coming out and paying my own bills, I had no idea how much some of these things cost. Like, I knew we paid for water and I knew we paid for electric, I had no idea how much these things could add up. So just having that kind of perspective of like, it does take a lot of your paycheck once you pay all your bills. It's just interesting. And so I'm so glad you actually put like the numbers with it, not just like we pay these bills, but this is how much they cost. This is how we do it, and really walked you through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kudos to your mom going back to school, tooling up a little bit, learning a whole new skill set, a great career. It sounds like she created for herself and was able to level up and provide for you. So that's terrific.
So then I know the story kind of takes a turn, right? And so I'd love to kind of dive into that of really what even opened up your eyes more to finances and really getting in that picture.
Yeah. And it's so important, right? We talk to so many people, and I've met at this point hundreds of people in my last 6 years with Mercer Advisors, of how your personal opinion on money, it starts from our earliest memories in childhood, right? The value of a dollar comes from our experiences growing up. And like you said, if you're younger and I'm here saying, why is dad telling us to turn the lights off? Why is it that important? um, to the point of how a client is going to invest their money, how attached are they going to be to their risk tolerance to really propel them to this financial freedom that we talk about. And there's so much that comes along with that, right? It's not just how did we budget our bills, but it's what did we do with our savings, and
Mhm.
how are we protecting our wealth once we've had it for our families and for our legacy. And it really came kind of full circle for me. And it was already important to me before to give financial literacy to anyone. The people that can't afford it most are often the people that need it most.
Mhm.
And women, again, coming from a perspective of being the only female in an all male office and seeing women don't invest as much as men, that was already important to me. But then when my dad passed away suddenly and my mom was left to figure everything out, it really truly hits home. It's one thing when you're helping others through it, but when you're going through it yourself
Mhm.
and you're going through grieving, you're trying to figure out final arrangements. No one wants to be focused on finances during that time. And so it's so important to think about these things before they happen. No one thinks at, 25, their dad is going to pass away. And no one wants to talk about, oh, we didn't have a will. We didn't have any insurance. We didn't have a financial advisor or anyone protecting those assets, putting in beneficiaries for things like bank accounts. It's no one thinks about these things. So it just propelled me to, when I'm doing this for my mom and helping my family through this in a really hard time, to use my experience to help people get prepared and make sure that their kids aren't dealing with this when they're grieving, and setting it up much earlier in life so that your kids are protected, your family has one less thing to worry about when you just want to connect, and the last thing you want to think about is the finances.
Yeah, for sure. So you were 25. Can I ask how old your mom was?
My dad was 59 when he passed, so my mom was 57.
Wow. And we
Um,
tell people that the average age of a widow is 59, and they think, wow, that's really young. But you can see in these circumstances, this happens, right? And like you're saying, you're 25 and you're stepping in to be a financial advisor for your mom. And yet, your parents, while young, were not prepared, right? And not unlike many, 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 many families out there. So what did you have to do for your mom at that time? I mean, and for yourself, and you have two younger sisters, right?
yeah, two sisters, and we're just talking through the 401k that my dad had with his employer. Um, and was there, a life insurance policy through the employer, and what Social Security benefits is my mom going to be entitled to? And then that just really made me realize you have to set this up for yourself now, Mom. Let's
Mhm.
open you a Roth IRA. Let's get you saving and investing, because now she's young. She still has so much life left to live. And navigating, they were married for 35 years, and trying to navigate that alone is really hard. So it just is one thing that if you can protect yourself financially, that's why we do what we do. So people don't have to worry about that, and they can focus on finding that new spark that's going to really just make you happy in life, right? The things that are important.
Definitely. It's so important, and we never know, when it might be the end. So we do want to have it prepared for all our loved ones, as that really would have been a gift to you guys if everything was really, laid out, mapped out, written down, had that plan in place. And so, what are some of those like top things that when you meet with new clients or women who are like, I'm trying to get started, I'm trying to get jumped in, like, what are some of those top things that you really think are important for women to know about or have or, be investing in or whatever that may be?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's one of the beauties of getting to work with Mercer Advisors and being an independent investment advisor and a fiduciary. We're very goals based in our financial planning. So that should always be step one. We're always creating a financial plan before we're even looking at the investments and making recommendations on ways to change. So that's one of the reasons I love being an advisor and getting to meet so many people and hear about their life goals,
Mhm.
is that I get to do that and turn that into a reality for them through the practical small steps that we can take each and every day. Um, and you don't need to be rich to invest. I think that's such a common misconception that
We hear
you
that
need
all
to.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you don't need to be rich to invest, but you certainly need to invest to be rich.
Love it.
And whether that means rich to you is having a small vacation each year and just being able to pay your bills and not have that stress about where those bills are getting paid from, that can be rich in your own mindset. So that's why I
Mhm.
love the goals based approach. But yeah, through that whole step, we're going through the financial plan. We're looking at your investments to make sure you're not too risky. And then at the end of that, I'm working through the estate plan with clients. So we get to do end of life and incapacity planning, which is so amazing that we're able to offer that to every single one of our clients. Um, and that's trusts, wills, advanced healthcare directives, both financial and medical power of attorneys. So it's truly a comprehensive foundational estate plan that pretty much covers anything from, you're forced to think about, what do I want to do if I'm in a coma?
Right.
Or how do I want to leave my legacy to my kids? Those
Mhm.
are all important things that every single person will have to deal with. So you might as well take a look at it now while you're of sound mind and while you're healthy.
Definitely. And since you mentioned it, I kind of want to just dive in quickly. And I know you're not an attorney, we'll preface that right now, but kind of the difference of why you need this end of life planning versus incapacitated planning. Because I think a lot of people think like, I'm a power of attorney, I can get their 401k, not a problem. But there does become that holdup if they're just in a coma, they're not actually dead.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something really common that we see too, is that folks will think, oh, I'm covered, I have a will, right? Well, a lot of people don't understand that even if you do have a will, you may have to go through the probate process, which can be very costly, I've seen it take years of people's time. Again, the last thing you want to do while you're grieving a loved one. And it's also public. So not everyone wants their entire financial life aired out to any person that
Mhm.
can Google. So it's so important to be protected from the end of life standpoint, whether that's protecting your assets in a trust through, properties, real estate, investments, taxable accounts, really covers you on all basis from that standpoint, especially for the clients that we work with that maybe have younger children or maybe have financially irresponsible children. You can lay out in your will what amount you would like to give to your kids so that they're happy and healthy and taken care of, but they're not out buying a Ferrari or what have you the next day.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things from the end of life standpoint, right? Making sure you don't have to go through the probate process.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposite side of that is the incapacity, which not everyone thinks about. It's not very fun, right? To think about what would happen to me if I'm in the hospital and I need to access my bank account just to pay for these bills.
Right.
A lot of people have to fight hospitals just to get their family's medical records. So it's so important to set up, HIPAA authorizations, advanced healthcare directives, the medical and financial power of attorney, so that your family can provide a simple document that has been set up by these estate planning attorneys, and you don't have to fight just to get, what you've spent your life building and spent your life
Right.
protecting. Let's make sure our family has access to it.
Yeah. Well, your mom was so lucky to have you and your knowledge and your resources right at her fingertips, because not everybody has those resources. And even Maggie will say a lot to her friends, if you're over 18, you're going to college or whatever it is, you need those power of attorneys, because if you get in a car accident or you're in the hospital, you're incapacitated, somebody, your mom or your spouse or whomever is not available to, maybe spouse, I don't know about that one, but if they're not power of attorney, they might not have access to help you out, help you make medical decisions or pay your bills and things like that. So it's not hard to get these documents, and it's just so necessary for everyone.
You're so right. Yeah, we talked about, unfortunately the average age for a widow is so young, and it's important for everyone, right? Everyone's going to have to retire one day. Pensions don't exist pretty
Right.
much anywhere anymore, and people are worried about even getting Social Security benefits.
I know. Yeah.
So it's important for everyone, but it's even more important for us as women, because women are going to end up with the wealth the majority of the time. Women are outliving their spouses, and women are most often taking on the role of caretakers for
Yeah.
aging parents, kids with special needs. So that's why I'm so passionate about getting this information out to women and providing just education, because knowledge is power, and we want to see the people with the wealth, taken seriously.
Yeah.
It's time for the industry to catch up. It's time for the world to catch up. So yeah, I'm just so happy we're here talking about women and finances.
Yeah, it's critical. That's what Purse Strings is all about. We love bringing in women like you, see you in the industry. You're young. What do you say to some of your young colleagues or friends your age around how to get started?
Yeah, that's a great question. Really just starting early. And if you didn't start yesterday, start today. Um, you're never going to regret saving for yourself. You're never going to regret investing in yourself. So when things like COVID happens and we're seeing the market drop 30%, I'm telling all of my friends, if you haven't opened a Roth IRA, do it now.
Yeah, buy low.
Buy low, keep saving. If you have an employer 401k, make sure you're getting the match. And that's another thing that I hear a lot, that people think they're maxing out their 401k, right? And maybe they're just putting in 3% or 6% because they're getting the match. That's the bare minimum, in my opinion, because if you're not doing that, you're leaving free money off the table of what your employer is going to give you just to save for yourself.
Right.
But then the actual maximum amount you can put in your 401k is quite a considerable amount. So put as much as you can towards retirement. In 10, 20, 30 years, when you're retiring, you're going to benefit from compound growth and all of those years of interest. So yeah, just saving, Roth IRA if you can, so you can get tax-free growth, and making sure your portfolio is aggressive enough that it's aligned with your time horizon.
I appreciate you sharing all this information, and especially for women who are younger out there who are like, I don't have $500,000 yet to go invest with a financial advisor. But it's not always about that. It's really about sitting with someone, making the plan, and making sure, are we maxing out, all your benefits from work? Are we having those powers of attorney in place? Are we maximizing, do you have some extra cash that we can put into an additional retirement account? And so I think sometimes people don't know always what a financial advisor can do for them besides invest money. But it's really looking at that really big holistic picture. Even some of those legal things that get pulled in, like the powers of attorney and your wills and things like that, but your retirement, your savings, even having that emergency fund, all those different things an advisor can really help you with, which I think is just interesting and important to reiterate, as they're not just, I'll take your money and invest it, but like, let's look at this big picture, this big plan. Do you want to travel every year? Okay, let's see how we can pencil that in as well. And what's important to you, because we'll make sure we'll bring all of that into the conversation, which you can't always do with a Google search of how to manage my finances. You really need an expert's help like Gabby, or, like another a professional out there.
Great advice.
So Gabby, how can people get a hold of you if they want to work with you at Mercer Advisors?
That's a great question. I'm on LinkedIn. I search my name, Gabby Malik, merceradvisors.com, and our website is great. We share articles about so many topics. And yeah, just getting a financial advisor and working with someone while you're shopping for a financial advisor, maybe ask, is this comprehensive? Are we looking at all areas of my financial life? Are you a fiduciary? So are you acting in my best interest?
Right.
We love those questions. But yeah, I would love to meet more people and help more people. So feel free to reach out on the Mercer Advisors website.
Yeah. And you're a Purse Strings approved professional, so they can find you through Purse Strings as well. And we love having, young women like you in the industry and available to the young professional women out there who are really looking to start now, get their investments in order, learn, and get their questions answered, get their POAs in place. So thank you, Gabby. Thanks for being in the financial industry, helping women be financially fearless.
Oh, thank you both so much.
We appreciate everyone tuning in today. Please do not hesitate to reach out to Gabby or any of our other Purse Strings approved professionals, as I think our biggest piece of advice is just to get started, as that's so important. So share this with a friend. Let's keep talking about this. Let's take some small actions today and just get started. Talk to everyone soon.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.